Do you feel like you blew it over the holidays, overindulged way too much, maybe even told yourself you're a failure and can't stay on track? Wondering how in the heck to start this new year off with a positive focus on you and your mental health? Well, stay right where you are because psychologist Dr. Connie Stapleton, who specializes in bariatric surgery, is with me today. She gets right to it with the answers you need now.
They're back. ProCare Health's customer favorite calcium dark chocolate bars are now available online at procarenow.com. Creamy chocolate plus calcium and vitamin D. You'll love them. Use code Susan10 to save 10%.
Hi, I'm registered dietitian nutritionist Dr. Susan Mitchell. You're listening to the Bariatric Surgery Success podcast episode number 82. How are you feeling about this new year? Are you excited? I am. I always look forward to a fresh start. You know, my passion is to show you how to use food and nutrition to feel better every single day so you can do what you want to do. I started this Bariatric Surgery Success podcast so you would have those tools to do just that. I appreciate that you give your time to listen. Joining me via Skype is Atlanta-based psychologist Dr. Connie Stapleton, and I'm so happy to share with you that Dr. Connie will be a regular guest this year. She'll be on the podcast about every 6 weeks. You know, Dr. Connie has vast experience in the mental health part of bariatrics and shares practical ways to improve your relationship with food, with other people, but most importantly, with yourself. And she teaches you better ways, as I say, and as she's told me, to deal with life's stuff. You can find links in the show notes to Dr. Connie's website, complete with the resources of all the great things that she offers, along with her podcast called Bari Aftercare. Hey, Dr. Connie.
Hi, Dr. Susan. Happy New Year to you.
I know. And here we are already rolling right into it, right?
Absolutely.
It's so crazy because I've already heard from people, several people, who feel like they just blew it over the holidays. The goodies and the beverages called their names and they answered.
It's a difficult time for sure.
And, you know, probably we all did in some way. But when you start to feel like a failure because of overindulgence, I just want to stop that stinky thinking right now because food doesn't make you a good or bad person or a failure. It's just food. So how do you change that thought process?
Well, the first thing I think is an important piece is to remember that last year, the holidays, they're over. So let's start today. And one of the most important things is to stay in today. If you blew it onward and forward, right? So we're not going to worry about what we did last week or the last month. We're going to stay in today. We're not going to worry about tomorrow, next week, next New Year's Eve. Replace the words I'm a failure to, you choose, but something positive like I'm persistent, I'm determined. Make it something that really floors your passion for moving forward and staying in the day.
I love that, staying in the day, because I know I'm guilty of this. You are too, but you start thinking about, okay, tomorrow I have to, and then Wednesday and next Saturday and the week after that. And
Yes.
Before long, you have yourself so worked up. You're like, really? You can't even focus on today. So I'm hearing you when you stay in today. So what do you do when someone like myself is traveling down the week and needs to get right back?
You just repeat the words. Stay in today. I can't live there. It doesn't exist yet. Stay in the day. Now, when it comes to our lives and children and jobs, we do have to plan, obviously. But when it comes to food, if you're a food planner, that's great. Do it for that day and then live it out for the rest of the week. But stay in today when it comes to your eating. All you can do is focus on, in fact, you can even break it down to stay in this eating experience, this meal right now.
Oh, I like that. Right now, just focusing on what to do at the moment. Address more these feelings of failure because in the weight world, they're big. as you well know.
Yes, and if there was a gift I could give to everybody in the whole world who struggles with this, it would be to truly change that stinking thinking. Because if you think about it, if you focus on, I'm a failure, is that going to help you in any way, shape, or form right now? In this moment? Absolutely not. All it will do is take you down a negative road. So focusing on failure is an absolute sure way to end up at a dead end. So change that thought to I'm determined. I'm determined. I choose health. Those are my favorite 3 words for a mantra. I choose health because it's not just food. It's your entire life, communication, exercise, relationships. I choose health.
I love that. That's a powerful, powerful, empowering statement.
Another thing is that, people are like, well, it just pops into my mind. Absolutely. That thought, I'm a failure, I blew it, whatever, it will pop into your mind. You're not responsible for thoughts popping in your mind, but you do have a choice once it comes there into your mind. What are you going to do with it? Are you going to take it in a negative direction and, oh my gosh, list all the ways you can define yourself as a failure? Or are you going to go, I'm not going there. That is not going to help me in this moment. I'm choosing health.
It's a lot like food because we make choices about food as well. We have a lot of options throughout the day and we have to make choices. And in some ways, it's also retraining yourself or changing habits that weren't so positive to more positive habits. So in some way, what I hear you saying, if mental health related, food related, it's all part of, as you just said, health related. It all goes together in that same moving in a positive direction.
It absolutely does. And it's all about, like we said, mindfulness, staying in the moment and choosing where you want to go, choosing what you want to eat, and choosing what thoughts you want to spend your time with.
Making the choice yours, in other words, not letting someone else choose for you, but taking back that control of the choice. That's
very empowering.
I love that. I'm not a fan of New Year's resolutions, I have to tell you, because I think throughout my years of doing this, most of them fail by next week sometime coming up. I'm a big fan on 1% to infinity, and you probably know that, which means every single day you do a tiny, tiny thing to move you forward in a positive way the rest of your life. And it's manageable because it's one tiny thing. It might just be eating your protein for breakfast. I mean, it does. Whatever it is doesn't matter. It's the fact that every day you choose these 1% and you keep going. And when you look ahead, you look back, you start thinking, wow, I accomplished all that, because 1% day after day after day it might be small, but it's might. Instead of these resolutions that we know tend to fail, what do you see in mental health as more successful than resolutions?
And I agree with you. Resolutions are almost comical. But anyway, I recently read something that encapsulated what I've been trying to say for years, but he did it much more succinctly than I did. And it's the author of Atomic Habits, and it's James Clear. And a lot of people say, focus on goals. Goals are better. Yes, they are. Goals are better than resolutions. But even then, as James Clear states, both winners and losers have the same goal. Right? So if you're training for the Olympics, all the athletes have the goal of winning a medal, right? Some do, most don't. But what makes the difference for you as a bariatric patient, whether you achieve the goal of losing any holiday regain or staying on track with your healthy weight today, is the system you put into place, that routine, those habits that Susan's talking about. And chances are really good that you do absolutely know what to do. People are like, I don't know what to do. Yeah, you do. You know, because you've seen it over and over and over again and heard it from Susan and other places. But it's developing that routine. Like Susan just said, I'm going to have protein for breakfast. Boom. That's what I do. I eat protein for breakfast. In fact, as a bariatric patient, I eat protein before I eat anything else at every meal. Boom. That's a great habit. It's the system you do every single day, every single day, every single day. And people who have great systems are the ones that succeed. It's not the goal. It's not the resolution. It's the day-to-day doing.
Yeah. And day to day, that right there is the answer. It's just small, simple, and keep moving, which always leads us to one of the things I love about your information is you don't beat around the bush. You get right to it. And I'm that same personality. So always I have to come back and say to you, okay, then Dr. Connie, what are the real workable tips that you've used through the years that are workable, that they're doable, that can help right now, today?
First of all, guys, keep it simple. We complicate this and overcomplicate it. Keep it simple. Dr. Susan just gave you a great tip. That is one of the simplest things as a bariatric patient that you can do to keep yourself on track, and that is eat your protein first. At every eating, meal, sitting, snack, whatever, eat your protein first. Keep it simple. And then use the gotta do-ems. They're free. It's a list of all the researched habits that have been shown to get weight off and keep it off. It's all right there for you. It's not going to surprise you. You've heard all of these things for years, but it's free, available for you on my website, which is ConnieStapletonPhD.com. But keep it simple. Eat that protein first. Stay in the moment. Stay in the moment. Stay in the moment.
Yes.
Choose health and praise yourself. Every time you do what's the next wise thing, oh, I ate my protein first. Go me. Focus on that positive and learn some healthy coping skills. And I think we're going to talk about this maybe in the next upcoming session with Dr. Susan. Learn healthy coping skills because anxiety is everywhere. People tend to eat in response to anxiety. So learn some healthy coping skills to avoid emotional eating and then get some support.
I love that. In fact, I was going to ask you, yes, in our next session a few weeks out, then we will be talking about anxiety and how to cope with it because it's global. Along with this global pandemic has come global anxiety. And I think we all feel this in some form at one time or another, and coping skills will be helpful. In fact, that's the one thing. Leave us today with, as we wrap up, with one coping skill that comes to your mind right now to get a taste of what you'll be talking about, but also one that we could practice until then.
It's the easiest thing to do. It's A, what keeps us alive, and B, if you use it wisely, it can help you decrease anxiety tremendously. And it's breathing. It's breathing. And it's breathing slowly and evenly. And if you really want to decrease that anxiety, count to 4 or 5, whatever on the inhale, but make your exhale count even longer. It slows down your whole body system and you will slow your anxiety and your mind. Breathing.
I love it. Just breathe, everyone. Ready? Just breathe. It's a whole new year, but we're going to make it a good one. And if you have more questions you want Dr. Connie to answer the next time she's here, if you have a specific question about anxiety, you can contact me through my website, breakingdownnutrition.com. You'll see the Contact Us link up at the top. You can post the question in the private Facebook group called Bariatric Surgery Success with dietitian Dr. Susan Mitchell. So come on and join us if you haven't already. Or you can reply to one of the weekly newsletters. I read every email that comes in, so feel free to send your questions that way. Let's get our focus in the right place and take care of you. You're worth it.
Bariatric Surgery Success with dietitian Dr. Susan Mitchell is produced and owned by Practicalories, LLC. All rights reserved. Remember, the content provided on this podcast is for information purposes only and doesn't create a patient-provider relationship. It's intended to provide reference material and is not designed to provide medical advice. Please consult your healthcare provider regarding any medical issues you have relating to symptoms, conditions, diseases, diagnosis, treatments, and side effects. Podcast guests express their own opinions, experience, and conclusions which do not necessarily reflect or agree with the host, Dr. Susan Mitchell or Practicalories, LLC.